Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today's video, as you can see, is going to be a sort of bike/car accident horror story video and how Jesus saved my life. So I thought I would just sit down with y'all and have some cola and share that with y'all today. So make sure, before we get into the video, that you subscribe to my channel. Give this a thumbs up if you enjoy. Ring the bell so that you get notified every time I post a video. Now, before we get into this, I just want to give a little bit of a disclaimer. I have already tried to film this video like twice. Basically, the first time, the second half of the footage got corrupted, so I had to like refilm the second half. And then like I had issues saving the video, so I was like clearing space on my phone. And then I accidentally deleted the first half. So this is like the third, or even, no, I filmed the second half twice. I refilmed the second half twice because the first one looked like it hadn't saved because the camera app crashed. And then I later figured out it had. It was just taking forever to load. So this is like basically like the fourth time I've tried to film this. So please bear with me if I seem a little bit discombobulated. I'm trying to remember everything important I said in the other takes of this video. And also that's why this is a little bit delayed getting up, because I was just kind of discouraged after the mishaps and just needed a little bit of a break to just sort my stuff out. So with that being said, there might be more pauses in this video than in other videos because I'm probably gonna stop the recording more frequently just to make sure that I'm actually getting it, because I'm not real sure what's been going on with my phone lately. So there might be more pauses in this video, as I just want to make sure that I'm getting all the footage before I film a whole video and then realize something went wrong in the first 2 minutes of it, you know? So yeah, I think that is all I have to say for this. So let's jump right into the story time. Okay, I'm just gonna open my, oh dear. I'm just gonna open my cola here, and then I'm gonna grab a napkin, because this one was a little exploding. All right. Okay, so this happened in, I believe, June or July of 2020. I think July. And this was back when I was living in Georgia in a little student apartment. Even though I wasn't a student, I was still able to live there, and I was able to get, the rent was really cheap. So it was good for me and it worked well. So this particular evening, I was gonna go get the mail, and it was maybe like a 7-ish minute walk from my building to where the mail was. And I decided, I often would walk it, but I decided to ride my bike because it's quicker and it's still good exercise. So I was getting on my bike, and I have to kind of turn out of my building, and then I had to make a couple of right turns, and then go straight for a while, and then make a left, and then I would get to the mailroom. But how it is I'm going past, the way the layout is, it's probably pretty much like any other apartment complex. There's the buildings, and then there is like parking spaces in front of the buildings. So you have the little, like, I don't know how to describe it, like tunnel area where you go in, and there's the staircases and there's the doors to get into the different units. So you have that, and then there's like cars over here, and then there's the tunnel thing. I don't know what else to call it, a walkway. And then there's more parking spaces. So as you're driving or walking or biking, there's cars over here. I'm trying to think. I mean, there could be cars also over here, But the way this apartment was, it wasn't laid out with buildings on either side of the road. There were typically buildings over here. And then there was like grass, but there were other parking lots kind of nearby. So anyway, I was turning and I was going, and so I was biking past some buildings with parking lots with cars to get to this mail area. And I was being really careful because, you know, anything can happen. So I wasn't biking like far to the left because that would risk me potentially getting hit by someone coming into the apartment, coming in and then like turning, and I'm right there. So I wasn't there. I wanted to have room to get out of the way potentially if somebody were coming. But I also wasn't too far toward the right just because of the other cars that were parked there and if one of them were to back out or something. So I was maybe not quite down the center. I was maybe a little toward the right. There was a good amount of space for me to get out of the way and avoid if someone were to back out, and there was a good amount of space for me to be out of the way if someone were coming this way. So I was being safe. I would have been further to the left if I had known there weren't anybody coming. But yeah, so I was just going, minding my own business, and I wasn't going very fast either. I wasn't being like reckless or anything. I was just going down this road, and suddenly there is this car just starts backing out, and I realized I could get hit. And I thought, this is it. Like, my life flashed before my eyes. I'm like, this is it. I'm gonna die. Like, right now, I'm gonna die. So I'm trying to stop, right? And I'm having one of those moments, you know, when you're in a moment of panic and suddenly you forget how to do something that's normally second nature to you. I'm like, I just, in that moment, forgot how to stop the bike. And I ended up hitting the vehicle. I hit the car, not right at the bumper, but like close to the tire area. And the bike kind of bounced off and fell, and I managed not to fall completely over, but I stopped myself, but I still ended up with a scrape on the underside of my left leg below the knee. Minor scrape, and then I ended up with a scratch on my right ankle, but it wasn't very bad. So the guy stops the car and he gets out and he's just like freaking out, feels terrible, and he's like, are you okay? Are you okay? Like, is your bike okay? And I'm just like, yeah, I'm fine. And we're just talking about what happened. He's like, I'm so sorry, I didn't see you. Like, he was very quick to be like, I didn't see you, I wasn't looking, I'm so sorry. So it's at about that point that we noticed the scrape on my ankle, and I hadn't noticed it first. He's like, oh my gosh, you have a scrape on your ankle. And that's when I noticed it for the first time, and I'll insert a picture like up here somewhere. It really wasn't that bad, but that was the first I noticed it, and it was bleeding a little bit, as you can see from the photo. So he was like, can I go get you some Band-Aids? And I'm like, sure. You know, this guy's like freaking out. If there's any even little tiny thing that I can let him do that will make him feel better about the situation. You know, so he goes inside and he gets these Band-Aids, and he's Asian. So he brings out these Band-Aids, and they're in a yellow wrapper with like Chinese characters on them, which I thought was really cool. I've never seen anything like that. So I put one on, and I know you guys might be thinking like, she should have cleaned it first. Yes, I probably should have cleaned it because it later got very infected, but I feel like he needed to see me cover it up and be fine, you know? I felt like I needed him to see that. I feel like that was good for him to see. So, yeah, I put on the Band-Aid, and I had an extra one for later. He brought me two just in case, and he just felt terrible. He kept asking, and I finally just looked him in the eyes, and I was like, don't beat yourself up about this, okay? And he was like, okay, and I could just tell that he was gonna have a real hard time I mean, frankly, he's probably just thinking how lucky he is. I could have sued him for this, but I'm not gonna sue him. You know, he meant well, he felt terrible, and I'm just glad that I'm okay. So I went on my merry way, and I just went and got my mail, and I was gonna go to the pool too, just to relax, and then I was like, you know what, I just need to go home and just chillax and think about what happened and stuff. But yeah, I'm really glad that it played out the way it did. God's timing is impeccable. If I had been like, I don't know, 10 seconds ahead, if I had started even 10 seconds later than I did, this would be a completely different story, and I'm honestly, I'm not even sure I would be here telling it. I think it's highly likely I would have been killed, or at the very least had my legs run over and had to have them amputated or some crap. Like, I'm very blessed and thankful for my life, honestly, because this could be a very different story right now, and I very well could not be here anymore to tell it. So I'm very thankful. And later that night, I was texting my mom with the pictures of my scrape and stuff, and I think, you know, she was kind of thinking, what's her problem? Like, she's like, you're fine, it's just a little scrape. But I didn't feel ready to tell her what had happened. I just told her, like, I didn't lie, I just said I fell. Would I tell her, like, I fell over and fell off my bike, had an accident and fell off my bike? That's what I told her, something like that. Because something was telling me it wasn't the right time to tell her, so I didn't. I was gonna tell her, and eventually I had every intention of telling her, so I told her the next day, because I went into work, and I worked for a chiropractor at the time, and my hip was starting to hurt, so I had the chiropractor, who was, you know, also my boss, so I was getting regular care with him. I had him look it over, and he determined it was a torn muscle or something, and it would heal on its own, which it did. But that prompted me, I was like, I need to tell her, just in case other stuff starts getting worse or whatever. So I told her, I was like, I need to tell you what actually happened. And I told her, and she was like, I see now, I wondered what your deal was. But you were trying to tell me, like, you almost got killed. And I was like, yeah. And she told me, she said, you did the right thing to not tell me. She'd apparently been really, like, stressed with work and stuff, and the night that it happened wouldn't have been the right time to tell her. So apparently I did good to wait. And that's the thing, I think because I'm so close with my mom, we have just this, like, telepathy, I guess, bond where we just know each other so well. I just knew it wasn't the right time to tell her. But yeah, that's how it all went down. And like I said, I'm very thankful that I sustained only minor injuries, because this could have been much worse, and I am super thankful for my life, and I 105,000% believe that God had his hand of protection over me that day. And it's reminding me of one of my favorite Bible verses. This is Lamentations 3, verse 22 and 23, I believe. And it says, for it is through the Lord's mercies that we are not consumed, for his compassions fail not, they are new every morning, great is thy faithfulness. And that is where the hymn, Great is Thy Faithfulness, came from, which I love when people take a Bible verse that inspires them and write a hymn out of it. But that verse is just like a reminder to me that, you know, God has been faithful through many times in my life, and this is yet another thing I have to praise him for and to just share with other people about how he chose to spare my life instead of take it. Alright guys, so that is it for this video. Please give it a thumbs up if you enjoyed. Make sure you stay subscribed to my channel. Ring the bell so that you get notified whenever I post a video. I'm trying to upload more regularly. I haven't quite figured out a schedule yet, but I'm trying to do like hopefully weekly videos. I'm sorry, this was getting to me and I really had to burp. But yeah, please subscribe if you'd like to see more from me, and comment down below if you have a similar story where God saved your life. I love to hear all those God stories, so please feel free to comment them down below if you have any you would like to share with me. And that is it for today's video, and I will see you next time. Bye, guys.